hey, I want you to know that God will give you strength in the journey. A lot of us are so broken, and life has just, took us through all types of hurt, pain, and trauma, you know. But for whatever reason, you made it, you know. I mean, we tend to just look to the world for healing. We tend to look to the world for solutions to our problems and, comfort. But God says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Do not be confined to this world, because the enemy attacks our mind. The enemy wants us depressed. The enemy wants us sad and broken, to where we can't function and think, and, to where we can't be a witness for God. And, he wants to attack our faith, He wants us to keep us in that lowly state. But guess what? I got news for you. That's where God is at. God is with the lowly. God is with the brokenhearted. God is right there because he's refining you. Those are the broken people, us broken people, those are the ones, we're the ones that he refined for the journey, for his purpose, for the calling. We are the chosen ones. I'm not saying that's why we go through, but for whatever reason, we don't know what God is doing until he reveals it to us. That's why we got to get in his presence. That's why we got to want to know what's going on. Like, God, what we got up next, God, what we doing in this season, because the enemy wants us to stay in that brokenness and just, lose hope, all hope, But God says in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you, plans to give you hope in a future. All things work together for my good. I'm rich in the city and I'm rich in the field. I am a child of the Most High God. I'm healed and blessed. I'm saved. I'm delivered. I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. Come on now. You got to speak these things over your life because the enemy tries to attack our mind. The enemy wants to attack the one thing. Once our mind is, control, everything else is control. Whatever has your mind has you. So you got to get about that depression and think. You got to think on your feet. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to discern and strategize and pray for these things. Because the enemy fights our mind, fights us right here. He battles us right here. That's why God says we have to be renewed we have to be changed and restored by the renewing of our mind. That is how we become a new creation, by the renewing of our mind. Once we understand how to overcome these intrusive thoughts and battles in the mind and, the spiritual warfare, once we understand that the enemy does not have any control over our mind and we can control that, it's a wrap for him, and he knows that. That's why he keeps us, he tries to keep us bound in that sadness and brokenness. You got to come out, sis. You got to come out, bruh. But guess what? Again, you got to also know that God is right there waiting for you to acknowledge your strength in him. Take care. God bless.